And now for our evening reflections, we find ourselves here in Matthew chapter 8, covering verse 1 to verse number 3. And we would like to entitle our evening reflection as One Touch from the Messiah, the source of living water, could make me whole or could make me clean. And I read here in Matthew chapter 8, covering verse 1 to verse number 3. When he was come down from the mountain, meaning the Lord Jesus Christ. So the writer is Matthew. He was writing to a Jewish audience. So we find most in the writing of Matthew that he left out some details in his writing because for the simple reason that he knew that his audience were Jewish and they would fairly understand where he was going and where he was coming from. So when he was come down from the mountain, meaning the Lord Jesus Christ, great multitudes followed him. So this was after the teachings of the Lord Jesus Christ, beginning from Matthew chapter 5 to Matthew chapter 7. So he came down from the mountain again. In the book of Luke, it was just a plain. So Matthew is referring to a mountain because he was alluding to the story of Moses when he went up into the mountain of Sinai. And he was picturing Jesus Christ here as the greater Moses who went down also from the mountain. So when he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed the Lord Jesus Christ. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. Again, we notice that if you have leprosy, the belief is that when you reject or blaspheme against God and against his man, then you will be plagued with this sickness. As we see in the Old Testament, when Miriam rebelled and spake against the man of God, Moses, he got leprosy. Then transporting in the New Testament, we find also in the story of Saul, the persecutor, when he had that Damascus experience, and then he went blinded. He was blinded, and then after he was healed, scales went out from his eyes. The same Hebrew word that was used in Miriam when he had that scale, that leprosy, the same Hebrew word that is used in the Apostle Paul when scales, the same Hebrew word, the Hebrew word was Sarah. So we see that when you blaspheme and when you go against God, then you will be plagued and blasted with this sickness of leprosy. So I will be thou clean, and just put forth his hand, and behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. Again, we notice the request of the man. He is not requesting that Jesus Christ heal him from his basically this is not leprosy, because if you have leprosy, you will not be able to mingle and draw near with other people. So some would explain that this is just a skin disease. Whatever it is not leprosy. I will be thou. Notice the request of the man is that he did not ask the Lord Jesus Christ to heal him, but rather he wanted to be cleansed. So that is very interesting. So we go back. If we do not have an Hebraic background and culture, we would really miss what Matthew has left out in this story. So the request that was to cleanse him, those are two different things. He didn't ask for healing, but rather he was asking for cleansing. So the thing is, what is happening here is that ritual purity is very important among Jewish people. Whenever they go to the temple, to the Sabbath, to the synagogue, they have this ritual bath which we call mikvah. They dip themselves into the water, goes out, and then they are ritually, ceremonially clean, and then they can go inside the temple and worship a holy God. The thing is, in every Jewish feast, when all the male would come down to Jerusalem, they would go to the mikvah, dip themselves into the water, go out, and then they are declared clean, ceremonially clean, and then they can enter the temple. So what if there are more than 500 men going onto that same mikvah? Then we would see that the water would be pure of impurities already. We would not dip ourselves with that kind of water already. So the religious leaders devise a system that after the water has become unkosher for them to dip themselves, so they would skim the water of many impurities that is floating in that mikvah, and then the priest would open a gate valve. Remember that water is very important. They catch water. Living water basically is a water that is not man-made. It's either from the rain or from rivers or streams. But basically, when we talk about living water, they are water that is not made from man, that is man-made. So living water is water directly comes from God. So they would open a gate valve and drop a drop of water coming from that living water that they have put up in a barrel or in a water drum. Put on a drop of that, and then once it dropped into that mikvah, then that mikvah is declared clean. So this is what is happening here. This is the information that the writer Matthew was writing to a Jewish audience has left out, that we need to see. I will, and touch him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. One touch coming from the living water, the mikvah, is declared clean. This man with leprosy or some kind of skin disease went to the Lord Jesus Christ, and one drop, one touch of that living water, the Lord Jesus Christ, the man himself, his leprosy was immediately cleansed. And so one touch from the Lord Jesus Christ would have cleansed this man from all his impurities. The thing is, if we would just come to the Lord Jesus Christ, whatever impurities that we have in this life, one touch from him, we would be cleansed from all our impurities. We can apply it in so many ways. We can apply it whatever situation that we have, whatever problems, whatever difficulties, whatever trials, whatever is on our way. Come to the Lord Jesus Christ, the source of the living water, and one touch from him, all these impurities would be cleansed. Nawa, ito'y maging pagpapala sa atin ngayong gabi. Come to the Lord Jesus Christ, our source of living water, and one touch, we need that one touch from the Lord Jesus Christ, so we can continue on moving forward, serving the Lord with all gladness and joy and excitement. Magandang gabi, pagpalain tayo ng Diyos.